Next, Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. The Fresno County Superintendent of Schools oversees 31 school districts and a variety of programs that serve students in Fresno County, provides educational leadership, fosters partnerships, and coordinates services to districts to ensure equitable opportunities for all students. This forum is held in partnership with Community Media Access Collaborative, or CMAC, GV Wire, Fresnoland, Valley Public Radio, and the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative. Respective journalists from these news organizations will be asking the candidates questions. I will serve as the timekeeper and moderator. Tonight, we're joined by Elizabeth Arakalian, Valley Public Radio, David Taub, GV Wire, Esther Quintanilla, Central Valley Journalism Collaborative, and Diego Vargas, Fresnoland. I would also like to give special thanks to CMAC for allowing us to use their facilities and equipment for this important conversation. Each candidate will get a 2-minute opening statement, a minute to respond to each question, and a 2-minute closing statement. If a candidate is directly mentioned by another candidate, a 30-second rebuttal may be granted at the discretion of the moderator. Now, let's meet the candidates. Incumbent Dr. Michele Cantwell-Copher. Dr. Michele Cantwell-Copher is the current Fresno County Superintendent of Schools with over 30 years of experience as an educator and administrator. She is dedicated to improving access and opportunity for Fresno's children and families. Michele and her husband John reside in Fresno, California, and are proud parents to their daughter Claire, an attorney in Sacramento, and Quaid, a U.S. naval officer in flight school. Dr. Eimear O'Brien has lived in Fresno for 33 years, where she received a master's degree in instructional leadership and later a doctoral degree in educational leadership at Fresno State. Dr. O'Brien led as district superintendent in Clovis Unified for 6 years and was most recently asked to serve as interim superintendent in Central Unified School District. Dr. Johnny Alvarado. Dr. Johnny Alvarado is a proud product of Fresno County, where he was born, raised, educated, and has served his community throughout his 60 years as a dedicated educator in roles ranging from teacher and principal to district and county leadership. A devoted husband to his high school sweetheart Ellie and father to 3 strong and successful daughters, Audrey, Brooklyn, and Nina, Dr. Alvarado believes deeply that education changes lives, having witnessed its transformative impact on his own journey, his family, and the community he calls home. Now each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves. We will begin with Dr. Michele Cantwell-Copher. Dr. Copher.
Hello, Fresno County. I am your very proud Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, and I'm so pleased to be here tonight. I'm especially pleased to be here with our journalists, Elizabeth and Esther and Diego and David. Thank you, Blake, for this opportunity. And to those of you in live stream land, I'm so glad you're this invested and cared so deeply about the future of education in Fresno County. I think it was shared that I grew up in Riverdale, so I know exactly what it means to be raised up by a community where everybody's invested in your success. I've spent the last 35 years working in our schools here in Fresno County. The last 3 as your Fresno County Superintendent. In January of 2023, I put my right hand in the air, I put my left hand on the Bible, and I swore to commit to our students here. Every single one of them. We have 206,425, and in the last 3 years, I'm proud to tell you that they are performing in safer school settings. We have higher student achievement, and we have engaged the community in ways that we've only ever dreamed of in the past. We've done all this with fiscal prudence and responsibility, and it is paying off. We have some of the highest test scores in the state of California in terms of growth. So I'm so proud of where we've been. I'm looking so forward to where we're going, and I look forward to tonight's opportunity to talk a little bit more about all of that.
Thank you, Dr. Copher. Dr. Eimear O'Brien.
Thank you. I'm Eimear O'Brien, and I'm running for the position of Fresno County Superintendent of Schools because I care about the future of our students. I spent 6 years as superintendent in Clovis Unified, and last year was asked to serve as interim superintendent in Central Unified School District, where I grew a deeper understanding of our larger and smaller school districts. My journey began as a teacher in Ireland, but Fresno County has been my home now for 33 years. I raised my children here, and I've dedicated my career to serving the students and families of Fresno County. My extensive experience and the fact that I'm being endorsed by our two most recent county superintendents speaks volumes about the trust and confidence that our most respected education leaders have in my ability to serve our students and deliver real results for the students of Fresno County. Here's the challenge. We are in the middle of a literacy crisis. About 60% of our third graders aren't reading at grade level. That's unacceptable. We all know that the foundation, that early literacy is the foundation for all reading. And so my top priority is every child reading by third grade. We'll use proven methods to ensure that our students have success. Other states like Mississippi have shown us that it works, and they're now ranked at the top of our nation. We can do the same. California has a new law supporting this shift, and there's money already in the budget. But we're working within a short timeline. Our success will hinge on how well and how effectively we support each other, especially our smaller and less resourced school districts. In addition, our middle and high school students need to have strong programs to prepare them for college and career readiness, and a strong foundation in reading is critical. To
Dr. O'Brien, I'm sorry to interrupt. That's time for your introduction. We'll now go to Dr. Johnny Alvarado.
Yes, well, good evening, everyone. And first, I want to start off by saying thank you to the Maddy Institute for putting on this forum. I want to thank my good friends, and we've been colleagues for a long time, Eimear and Michele, for being here and joining us in this forum to bring information out to the community. I hope that today's event does two things. One is that it gives a better picture of what the role of the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools is, and the second, that we are able to address a problem that has existed in our county educational system now for a decade and maybe even longer. And the problem that I talk about is for the last 11 years, on average, year after year, our students are showing that they cannot read or write on grade level to the tune of 55%. And 68% are showing they cannot perform at grade level in the area of mathematics every year for the last 11 years. This is a problem. This is a problem that we need to talk about. I'm a firm believer that if we do not address and admit that there is a problem, we never get to the place where we try to solve this problem. And that is what we have to begin doing now. One area that sets me apart from our other candidates for this position that we're vying for are twofold. First, I am Fresno County. When I started working at Fresno County Office of Education, which was what it was known then, that was back in 2014, I committed within a year that this is the superintendency that I would want someday. And I was patient, and I was practiced, and I was intentional. And 12 years later, it is time, having collected all the experiences that I have, to serve in this role. It's very important that we begin addressing the problem in Fresno County, and I'm not shy to do that. Also, I have served as an elementary, middle school, and high school teacher and a college professor, elementary, middle school, and high school principal. I have served in 7 different school districts, district and county administrative roles, and have supported 20 out of the 32 different school districts in my tenure. I look forward to the rest of the evening and sharing.
Thank you, Dr. Alvarado. Now I'll turn it over to our panelists for questions. This will be an opportunity for the panelists to ask different questions that they have come up with and about your vision for the Office of County Superintendent. Elizabeth Arakelian, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Good evening. Great to be here with you. I'll kick things off by asking, the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools oversees a lot of diverse needs. In your eyes, what is the single most important function of this role, and how is your vision suitable for all of the stakeholders involved? And we'll start with you, Dr. Alvarado.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the question, Elizabeth. Appreciate it. The single most important vision of the County Office of Education, it's identified when you look at the Ed Code 1240. It talks about 3 main functions. The first is budget analysis. We approve budgets for the school districts. The second is that we provide support networks for special populations in our county. And the third is that we provide oversight, support, and accountability. And it is in that third is where I believe we have failed the students in Fresno County for a long time. I reference a decade, and I say that because I have a narrative about a 20-year journey in Fresno County. The first 9 years of those 20 years, you cannot find the data. but you can't find the last 11 years of data. And I'll preface it by saying this. If we just looked at our 11th grade students, there's a reason why I'm saying that. Our 11th grade students have been showing that they cannot read or write on grade level at 44% and 74% at the math area. This is a problem because in 3 months we're going to be handing these students diplomas, because they're all seniors this year, and sending them out into the world. And we should be asking the questions, what is going to happen to them?
And
that is
you,
a
Dr.
very
Alvarado.
viable data point.
Thank you. We'll move on to Dr. Cantwell-Copher.
Yes, in a word, literacy. Our office has a lot of responsibilities for compliance, but that's not where the magic happens in the classroom. And the magic that happens in the classroom is really about providing supports and training so that our teachers can make that happen in our classrooms. And setting a stage, leading by example, making sure that we have opportunities available to all of our educators that really promote a literacy-rich experience for our students is really, really critical, because we know that reading by 3rd grade is so critical, and that we protect the balance of the experiences in school are all about building on that. And so we do many, many things. We do that by ensuring we have strong early care and education programs. We make sure that we are meeting the mental health needs of our students. We do a lot of things that prepare the conditions for the readiness to learn to read well.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien.
I believe you asked what the role of the county superintendent was first, and it really is to provide guidance and support to the district superintendents who are selected and appointed by their locally elected governing boards, and to whom our district superintendents are solely accountable. And so the role of the county superintendent is to help our district superintendents in their achievement of the goals that they work out with their local boards. And in the absence of any authority that the county superintendent has over the local district superintendents, it really is a partnership. It's a role that provides guidance. And I would say the single biggest issue that we have in our county right now is that, as I mentioned, we really are in a literacy crisis, and it's affecting everything else. It's affecting our students' confidence and affecting later educational outcomes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to Esther Quintanilla.
Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. Many of our schools, namely in Fresno Unified, have very successful dual immersion programs. Do you support the creation of these types of programs across Fresno County, and how will you, as superintendent, continue to encourage districts to develop these programs?
Yeah.
And since we started with Dr. Alvarado, we'll start with Dr. Copher, and then subsequently we'll do that for each question. Dr. Copher.
Esther, I love this question. Being bilingual is a superpower. And so, yes, we're trying to encourage and promote the expansion of dual immersion and dual opportunities for learning both languages. We have a couple of examples across Fresno County schools that are excellent. And when we are building up both languages, or even in some cases tri-languages, we can see that there's an academic gain, if you will. And so we are very interested in promoting that. We do that through, again, our ELA arm of the office. We do it by elevating the best practices. We do that by pointing out that there's trainings and preparation available through our higher ed institution partners, if you will. And then we do a lot by inspiring, frankly, our district superintendents to consider building programs such as that.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien.
So I just wanted clarification. Did you say dual enrollment or dual immersion?
Dual immersion.
Okay, you did. Okay, yes, I think it is a great advantage obviously for our students to be able to access learning in their home language, and that is really the whole goal of dual immersion, is because all of the research points to the fact that students who access education in their own language have a greater ability to access the actual content of their education. And the system that we use, where we ease our students into the process so that as they navigate through, for example, elementary school and exit elementary school with both languages, really the benefit there is that they actually have a firmer foundation in the educational process. And that is the real benefit of dual immersion.
Thank you. Dr. Alvarado.
Yes. Thank you for the question, Esther. Yes, emphatically yes. Dual immersion support is without a doubt very important for all the reasons mentioned. But I think we need to look at a different, look at this from a different lens, because what's been shared today is that the role of the Fresno County Superintendent is not to tell district superintendents what to do. And so then the question becomes, well, if dual immersion is important, how do we get that to be in the places at the school districts, right? So this is where that third arm of the role of the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, the area of accountability. If we are not practitioners of accountability, and I believe firmly that this is the main role of the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, which has been amiss for a decade and maybe even longer. So my perspective would be that we need to be transparent and accountable to the success of our students. And if dual immersion shows that it creates success for kids, then we should create the transparency and the accountability infrastructure so that our district superintendents will want to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, it's David Talbot, GV Wire. We appreciate the opportunity to talk with you tonight. I want to ask you about a plan from Governor Gavin Newsom's office, which would pare down the responsibility of the state's elected superintendent of schools, currently Tony Thurman, and give more power to the State Board of Education, which is an appointed board. So I believe we're starting with Eimear O'Brien.
Right. Well, I know that they are looking at that right now, and it would certainly bring some cohesion to the governance structure at the state. Right now we have the State Board of Education over here with Governor Newsom, and we have the California Department of Education. I think that if we bring them together, it will create some disparities in how local governing boards can be represented at the state level. So I think that ultimately the system that we have right now allows the State Board of Education to create standards for us. The California Department of Education then interprets those, and I feel that that's probably the best way to keep it.
Thank you, Dr. Alvarado.
Thank you. David, thank you for the question. We have 180 days in a school year to make a difference for students. If our focus is not within our school districts and within our county, we are going to miss that opportunity to make a difference for our kids. So to answer your question specifically, that is a political environment that needs to be addressed at the state level and with Governor Newsom. Do I believe it is in my purview to get involved with that? I think to a certain extent. But at home, at Fresno County, my #1 responsibility is going to be to every single Fresno County student and the infrastructure and systems that we are creating to hold ourselves accountable. That's first and foremost. Once we get that in place, then we can worry about the battles that are happening with the governor, the battles that are happening with the state superintendent. It's no different than the question that was asked of us not too long ago about CETA. This is a relationship with Fresno City Council and the school districts that it will affect.
Thank you,
Can we play a
Dr.
role in
Alvarado.
that? Perhaps.
Thank you.
I appreciate the question as well, because generally speaking, I perceive it to be a positive realignment of the ability to better serve us as county leaders with regard to state interpretation and our support to local school districts. The bigger issue, I think, is whether or not we are able to have a better relationship with folks in Sacramento that are making decisions about our schools. So our office is the 4th largest county in the state of California, and we have taken in the last 1 to 2 years a very assertive role in influencing Sacramento by having a little more centralized leadership at the point of responsibility in the governor's office. We think we're going to have a more fluid opportunity to explain what we believe our students need in Fresno County schools and to better influence the decision makers with regard to what actually happens in our classrooms. So we see it as a positive.
Thank you. We'll now move, that was a good segue to our next segment of questions focused on school funding. We'll start out with Diego Vargas from Fresnoland.
Hi, good evening. My question is, school districts in other counties have begun to consider or are already moving to close schools because of declining enrollment. San Jose Unified recently approved the closure of 5 schools for the next school year, and Vallejo City Unified is closing 3 schools by the end of this school year. Fresno County schools, notably Fresno Unified, have similarly seen declining enrollment since 2018-19. What are your thoughts on the possibility of school closures in the county, and what plans do you have to prevent or mitigate the potential impacts of school closures?
We'll start with Dr. Alvarado.
Is it? Yes. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for the question. Appreciate it. You know, this is sometimes a necessary evil, if you may, if you will, that needs to happen in school districts. How we go about doing that is very, very important. If we know as a district superintendent or as a county superintendent, which remember, the county superintendent approves the budgets, if we know that it's something that is may be happening, we need to get ahead of it. We need to have our committee meetings, we need to have our parent nights, we need to get in spaces where we're talking with community members so that they can have input in what the possibility may be. Maybe there's a different idea out there that district leadership has not thought about. So how we go about doing it is key. And sometimes that is just a necessary evil that has to happen. What districts need to do is they need to be introspective of why students might be leaving their school district and begin to make changes so that that doesn't happen. But if it does, we need to involve the community in decision making.
Thank you. Dr. Cantwell-Copher.
Yes. To dispel a myth real quickly, we have about a consistent enrollment across Fresno County schools. What we do have, though, is schools that have movement within them, or districts, if you will. So Fresno Unified is a good example of experiencing as much as 10,000 students in a decline in the last about 3 to 5 years. They are making certain choices and decisions as we speak with regard to enrollment and checking birth rate. Birth rate actually affects loading schools, if you will, and there's a lot to factor in with deciding to close schools. That's an individual school district site, but I see the value of our office, the county office, being able to help with building budgets and projections and the ability to be a thought partner in that. Again, ultimately, local school districts will make those decisions, and they will be forced to do so via budgetary reasons, but I see our office as essential partners in being able to help make decisions, and hopefully with a 3 to 5 year outlook.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien.
Yeah, what I'll say is that a lot of this boils down to advanced planning. In all my years that I was a district superintendent in Clovis, and even prior to that as an assistant superintendent, we spent a lot of time looking at projections into the future, looking at birth rates, looking at all the different building and household construction that was taking place. When you look at the Terry Bradley Education Centre, we bought that land back in the early 1990s. And all those years out, we were constantly looking at all the different movements in our area, within schools and within the general area. So that by the time we went to build that, we felt confident that we were going to need it. And so it's the same with declining enrollment. I think we have to backtrack and really encourage and support districts in having long-range planning, so that we can try and mitigate those kinds of consequences.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. We'll now move on to our next question, Esther Quintanilla.
A lot of federal shifts have happened over the last year in terms of funding for Title I and Title III grants, which help provide support for English learners and immigrant students to meet academic standards. As the superintendent of schools, how will you make sure programs supported by these dollars continue to be upheld in our schools, and should these decisions only be up to individual districts?
Thank you. Dr. Cantwell-Copher.
Well, federal funding is something that we watch really, really closely, and you probably are really well aware of the fact that we had money promised last July, and then the money just didn't flow. So our office, as the intermediary between the state, the federal government, and our local school districts, was advocating regularly about making sure that money stayed consistently as promised and started to flow. We have been vigilant about watching that closely. I think your question is whether or not each individual school district gets a...
Should they have a say in like what happens to those dollars?
Well, my role is to make sure the money keeps flowing, and then yes, individual school districts should have say. That's the basis of the relationship between the county office and our local school districts.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien.
Well, I also feel that it's important for everybody to remember that, the vast majority of dollars that flow into our system do come from the state. And yes, it's going to affect us when federal dollars are held from us. But decisions that are made at the local level are made to try to continue programs that we feel are important investing in. And investing in our English learners is critical to the success of the district. And so, again, districts will find ways to reprioritize how they spend their dollars to make sure that the needs of different groups are met. We do receive a lot of funding for English learners through the state, so many of these programs can be adjusted to make sure that our students aren't missing out on any federal dollars being left behind.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. Dr. Alvarado.
I met with a school board member not too long ago, and I asked him a question. I said, Mr. School Board Member, do you know that close to 80% of your juniors last year were not proficient in math? And this year they're all seniors. He had no idea. Now, I open up with that because, yes, we understand how money flows from the state to the school districts, how the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools plays the intermediary into the dissemination of those dollars and making sure that they're continuing to flow. And we also know that the districts have ultimate control of their dollars, and they should have a say of how they're spending that money. But if there is not a need, if we don't know that there's a need with a certain population of students, attention is not going to be paid to students. This has been the problem for the last 11 years. We need transparency and we need accountability. That is what will change the mind, change the thinking of what is important and what we should be addressing and how we should be addressing that within our own school districts. And the Fresno County Superintendent can serve in that role and help in bringing transparency and accountability to our county so that
Thank you,
not
Dr.
only
Alvarado.
board members but parents know as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this next segment will hone in on your vision and philosophy as it relates to technology and safety in schools. We'll turn it over to Diego Vargas to start us off.
So my question is, as AI use spreads, schools have begun to make guidelines and plans on how students can use AI to learn. What is your stance on artificial intelligence and its implementation in Fresno County classrooms for students to interact with?
Dr. O'Brien.
Well, the first thing I'll say is that we're very fortunate here in Fresno County to have two of the state's specialists in AI in education right here in Fresno County. I actually met with both of them over the last few months, and what they said really made sense to me, that how we use AI is the most important piece. AI is not something that we can ignore, but the goal is for it to enhance instruction, obviously not to replace instruction. They mentioned, and I agree, that every teacher needs to be trained in how to implement AI and how to use it ethically and responsibly in the classroom, and that each district will need to develop parameters for how AI will be used to ensure that we're not teaching our kids inaccurate information.
Thank you. Dr. Alvarado.
Yeah, it would be an absolute irresponsibility and irresponsible action on our part if we did not allow technology to enter the classrooms and enter the school districts. This is the way of learning and this is the way of life, and we have to accept that and we have to own it. Owning it is what it needs to look like, matter-of-factly. And so students, in my experiences, elementary through college, students will respond to the parameters that we create for them. And so we need to approach technology, we need to approach safety, we need to approach artificial intelligence from that lens. As an example, At a recent middle school, we banned cell phones. We did it right. We talked to parents. We invited community. We had invited conversations with students, but we banned cell phone. The benefit that was received from that was incredible. More time learning, less behavioral issues, but students were still allowed to use them at the right time. So it would be irresponsible for us not to allow it, but we have to create the parameters for how we want our students to both behave and learn while they're on campus.
Thank you. Dr. Copher.
And we are enthusiastically embracing AI at the Office of the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. And we're doing it in kind of a triad approach. First and foremost, we're using it. Every 6 seconds, somebody in my office is using AI to better improve their delivery in our office. So we're using it first and foremost to make ourselves more efficient. We're reconciling payroll with HR so that we can make better, efficient use of how we basically roll out our business operations. Secondarily, we're making sure our teachers are comfortable with using AI in our classrooms. They're essential to make sure that there's a balance of use of AI, and there's still a progressive struggle with the traditional way that students learn. And then third and finally, we're looking at guardrails for students so that they can responsibly and safely use these amazing tools that are artificial intelligence. But the point is we're enthusiastically embracing it. And by the way, I hired one of those outstanding state leaders, Catherine Goya, into my office.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to Elizabeth Arkelian for our next question.
In 2024, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill to limit smartphones during school hours. Outside of the distraction that phones can cause in the classroom, excessive use of social media has been proven to have adverse effects on students' mental health and well-being. How will you ensure that Fresno County fosters a healthy culture on its campuses and controls for the social pressure that students may be facing online?
Dr. Alvarado.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. Great question. So I'm going to approach it from this perspective. Again, our #1 role as Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, I'm focusing in on the accountability aspect, academic achievement accountability aspect. And so we have to create that environment. And transparency and accountability on how we are doing will allow us to want to think outside of the box, right? So in the area of smartphones, we have to ban them within class time. And that can look differently. It can be all day from 8 to 3 in the afternoon. It can be only during learning time. It can take on a lot of different perspectives on what that can look like. But it is our responsibility to make sure county superintendent, district superintendent, principals, and teachers that we understand it is still possible to learn without a smartphone in the classroom. Again, we have seen great benefit from this. We've seen more learning. We've seen reductions in discipline referrals and suspension rates, and kids actually talking to one another. Imagine that. It's a great environment that we can create. We just need to do it responsibly.
Thank you. Dr. Copher.
The cell phone ban in schools has been quite the social experiment around Fresno County and across the country, and frankly the globe, in fact. Every school is obligated to have a plan in place by July 1, and we've seen various degrees of success with this. The research is clear, though. Jonathan Haidt, in the Anxious Generation story book that he wrote, indicated that there's all these negatives that come with social media and the excessive use of screen times. So we know that we have to put these bans in place. What the magic sauce is, what actually makes it work or not work, is the collective action of all these different shareholder groups. If parents are not buying into the plan, if students aren't buying into the plan, if educators, teachers, frontline aren't buying into the plan, then it's not going to be successful. The best plans we've seen are when everybody contributes and then commits to the plan.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien.
Well, what I'll say is, it's just like anything else. It can be painful for parents if they think that their child doesn't have access to a phone in school, and painful for kids to think that they don't have access. So what a lot of schools in our district, the districts that I've worked in, have done is really focused on educating parents and students around the benefits of actually having a responsible use of the cell phone on campus, and really peeling back what that can look like so that everybody can have a consensus and feel comfortable with it. In Clovis Unified, when I was working there, we had many meetings with our parents and all of our stakeholders to educate everybody on what it could look like and on the benefits. And really, when you do that, you tend to arrive at better decisions and something that everybody can all buy into and live with.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. Next, we'll move into our next round of questions focused on state and federal issues impacting education. David Taub, I'll turn it to you.
So the state legislature just stopped short of mandating the science of reading in schools, instead encouraged using the phonics-based program in elementary schools. And phonics, of course, a very ironically spelled word. But I want to get your take. Science of reading, phonics, where do you guys stand on this?
We'll start with Dr. Cantwell-Copher.
Okay, a collective approach is best. In Fresno County, we have students that range every background, every lived experience, every basic of some of the basics. And what we are learning is that we need to approach it with culturally responsive, rigorous. There's 4 different ways that you teach reading, phonics, comprehension, and so on. And the fact is that we need to make sure that our teachers have everything they need in order to meet the individual needs of the student in their classroom. And how we teach kiddos in Mendota might be a little different than how we teach kiddos in Fresno Unified and Carruthers Unified, but there are some very basics that are showing success in our classrooms. And we're able to see successes across Fresno County schools, and we're sharing those best practices across the county and looking to scale that.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien.
Well, I think that the concerns with the science of reading were, and this process has been going on now for the last 5 years in California, was that it didn't lean enough into the other elements of teaching reading, which is fluency and vocabulary development and comprehension. And so there's been a lot of conversation around how we would structure AB 1454, which is the Golden State Literacy Plan. And a big piece was making sure, for example, that we had components that served our English learner students, which we have a lot of English learner students in California. So I really believe that having done quite a bit of research about this, that we've arrived in a place that everybody can be comfortable about and that we can all buy into it, because only then can we move forward in a way that everybody will actually, participate.
Thank you. Dr. Alvarado.
David, I shared earlier that our 11th grade statistics last year and for the last 10 years on average is virtually the same. 44% of our kids, 11th graders last year, cannot read or write on grade level, and 74% cannot do math on grade level. That doesn't just happen their 11th grade year. That started early in their educational journey, perhaps even in kindergarten, in the early primary grades. So do I believe that a phonics-based approach, back to the basics, is essential and important? Absolutely. There's a lot of school districts using the science of reading components and the infrastructure in order to teach students how to read before they get to 3rd grade. So this is a journey from kindergarten to 3rd grade. This is important. I am so motivated by this idea of first understanding the state of our county and how we have been failing our students for the last 10 years, and then beginning to put steps and plans in place. Science of reading can be one of those in the early grades.
Thank you. We'll move on to our next question, Esther Quintanilla.
How do you see Fresno County contributing to the governor's Global 2030 initiative, the state-led effort to expand bilingual education that aims for half of all K-12 students to be proficient in 2 or more languages by the end of the decade?
Dr. O'Brien, start with you.
Well, what I'll say is that we need to put very systems-based approaches into place in our districts so that we can avoid the kind of spike and drop syndrome that we've been having. I think there's no doubt that we have a lot of educational issues in Fresno County, and before we can ever get to a place where everybody can be bilingual, we need to put systems in place so that our students can be can have literacy skills at least in 1 language. And so I believe in us the position of the county superintendent is beautifully positioned to coordinate a county-wide initiative around getting everybody on board with literacy.
Thank you. Dr. Alvarado.
Pienso que el lenguaje de hablar español es una cosa muy importante en el condado de Fresno. I believe that being able to speak Spanish in Fresno County is so important, especially as an instructional leader in whatever level that may be. So as a county superintendent, I would be in favor of beginning these conversations alongside our school district superintendents of what programs like that could potentially look like. I am able, Esther, as you asked the question, I am able to speak to twice as many people than my wife is. My wife only speaks English, right? And that allows me to serve more people. That allows me to be a mentor to more individuals. It doesn't necessarily make me better than anybody. It makes me better than myself and who I was yesterday or the year before. So I believe we need to put in place in our school districts opportunities for kids to be connected to something, to feel valuable, and then to be able to see them to help more students or more individuals as they leave our school systems.
Thank you. Dr. Cantwell-Copher.
Hablo español un poquito, but I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. So I see Fresno County having a wonderful opportunity to lead an effort such as this, because we have 68% of our students in Fresno County schools are Latinx, 40% are ELs or English learners, and when we redesignate them, they are the highest performing students we have in all of our student groups, if you will. And so what we have a little bit of a challenge at is the workforce, and that is we don't always have teachers that are bilingually credentialed. That said, we have natural native speakers that are both have the bilingual skill set, if you will. So I just see us as being able to acclimate quickly, just like we did with dual enrollment. We knew that we needed to quickly educate, if you will, and make eligible our teachers. We can do the same in this manner. There will be some funding made available, I'm sure about that. And then we have just this natural inclination to really build in this arena.
Thank you. We'll now move to our next question. Diego Vargas.
Thank you. My question is, the pandemic and its effects on student average daily attendance continue to impact funding. Moreover, both the perceived and very real possibility of ICE enforcement also impacts student attendance. What do you think is needed to both address community concerns and get as many students to attend school regularly?
Dr. Alvarado.
Yes, thank you for the question. We have to be forthright in creating the school climate and culture that kids are going to want to come into, right? And that takes a lot of work. You want to make sure that you have a positive behavioral management system, if you will, where kids are going to know how to behave. When they come to a school campus, they're going to feel safe. The two items that you bring up are very important, attendance and then the situation with ICE and how families and students might not be feeling safe to come to school. And that is a problem for us. So we have to get ahead of it. We have to have our parents seeing us and going out to them, whether it means going to their homes, getting in small groups in people's houses, inviting them in a safe way to forums on campus to ensure our parents and our students that their children are going to be safe coming to school and when they're in school. We all know that if kids are not at school, they are not going to learn. And that's the most important thing that we can do on a school site is make sure our kids are learning. So we have to create environments that are safe for kids and also for parents.
Thank you. Dr. Copher.
It's been such a difficult and challenging time, particularly in our community with regard to immigration enforcement. And I think we've established since the very onset of the threat that our students should be in school and that the best and safest place for them would be in school, that they feel welcomed and that they're well supported. That's why we've spent a lot of energy on mental health supports, because feeling scared and anxious and angry are all legitimate feelings throughout this whole process. That said, improving attendance has been a challenge before this threat as well. So what we need to do is really help families understand that we don't want to deny a child their opportunities for success in school and in life by withholding their opportunities to come for a free and public education. So again, school climate matters a lot. Parent engagement matters a lot. And making sure that students are successful in their endeavors in school and that there's a good school-home relationship, all of those are factors that increase attendance.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien.
Yes, I think that a big part of kids, increasing attendance is creating an environment where kids love coming to school. It's multifaceted, it's building relationships with our kids, it's providing a high quality instruction in the classroom where our kids can start feeling successful. It's creating positive school climates where kids have lots of activities on campus that they can look forward to during the school day. I definitely feel that during the immigration enforcement, during this time that we're dealing with that, I feel that educating parents and educating our kids is very critical, and I know a lot of our districts have done a great job doing that. But increasing attendance at school is very, very important. There's a direct relationship between student academic achievement and whether they're actually in school.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. We're running a little bit ahead of schedule. All of you have one thing in common, it's efficiency. So give yourselves kudos for that. We're going to move into our final round of questions. I'll turn it over to David Taub with GV Wire.
Thanks, Blake. For the challengers, Eimear O'Brien, Johnny Alvarado, what would you do differently than the incumbent Dr. Copher, Superintendent Copher? And for Superintendent Copher, what would you do differently, or would you do the same things? How would your second term be different than your first term?
So we'll start with you, Dr. Copher.
Okay, well, let's talk about the fact that this first term has gone pretty well. All of our metrics that we can measure are in an upward trajectory. Every single grade level, students are achieving academically. They're showing growth. We have some of the highest growth rates in the state of California. We're closing the gap between us and the average median state of California. What do I see for the next term is that we're going to accelerate substantially in that success. The relationships we have with our district superintendents are tremendous. We have a lot of respect with our board of trustees. Teachers are doing remarkable things in the classroom. We have a lot of work to do. There's no doubt about that, but we're showing momentum right now. And the next few years, because of the investments we've made in early learning, because of the investments we've made rolling out mental health supports, the CTE offerings, the dual enrollment offerings, and the rigorous A through G opportunities are making sure that every single child graduates with a plan for college, career, or service in the future.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien.
Well, what I would say is that what separates me from both my colleagues here is that I'm the only one who has actually run an entire district. Both of my colleagues have led parts of a district. And what I will say is that the role of the county superintendent is to be able to mentor and provide guidance to our district superintendents. I'm the only person who has actually done the job at the level for which this position has been designed. And as I look at our county, I have to say I'm very concerned. We've only been going up about 1% a year in literacy and about 1.2% a year in math. I think there's an urgency attached to what we can be doing in Fresno County. And as I look at our district superintendents, I know that they need a leader that they can have that can support them at the level that they need, who understands the complexities of their jobs.
Thank you. Dr. Alvarado.
Thank you. Thank you, David, for the question. I'm running for this position to have double-digit increases in English language arts and mathematics. Point blank, period. There's no doubt about it. We need to have that. Kudos to my good friend here, Michele, in having upward trajectory. And to Eimear's point, she's absolutely correct. It's 1.1% increase in ELA average every year and 1.23% in mathematics. It's not enough. That is not enough for our students in Fresno County. I am also looking to be elected, not appointed to this position. For the last 20 years, this position has been appointed by 2 former county superintendents because of their endorsements and those that they get to rally around their choice. And that has to change. We are in an 11-year trajectory of failing our students year after year. That has to change. What I want to do different is I want to be elected for the results that I have experienced, that I am a person not only of theory, but also of practice. I lived this life. I know what our kids need. I know how to support our district superintendents. That's what I will bring to this position.
Thank you. And I'll turn it over to Elizabeth Arakalian.
Education is a cornerstone of life in the Valley, and yet many families live in poverty. Fresno County's poverty rate exceeds state and national averages. In this role, how will you lead teachers and staff who are often working with students whose life outside the classroom may affect their ability to learn?
Dr. O'Brien.
Well, I think there's it's very, very important for our teachers to understand the realities of their children's lives. And over the years, I know that a lot of us have talked to our teachers about poverty and what our students are experiencing at home, so that they can gain a deeper understanding of how to connect with our kids. It means building relationships with the families, being able to meet our kids where they're at. One of the things that I say all the time is that I know students are dealing with poverty in their home life, but we have our students in our care for a long time of every day. And there's no reason why we can't control that by providing a high quality education and then connecting with parents to help support their kids.
Thank you. Dr. Alvarado.
Thank you so much. I was born in 1966 in an impoverished area, a very tough neighborhood. And on June 2nd, 2026, my name is on the ballot for Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. When I think about those two endpoints, I worked hard, I persevered, I had teachers that were by my side, and I had mentors. I want that for every Fresno County student that we are tasked to be in charge of. Poverty should not be the end of us. It should be the start and the beginning of what we need to do different for our students. Our teachers need help. They don't need another curriculum. They might need some professional development in certain areas. That I would agree with. What our teachers need, and our parents, quite frankly, need, and our students need, is they need us to address this social promotion issue that is problematic for us. The 11th graders that I talk about, probably in their journey, they were just socially promoted year after year, and now they're faced with not being able to go out into the real world and be successful, quite possibly. So we need to address social promotion, because there are so many ills and problems that come from it, and I'm willing to take that on, as I have done in my entire career.
Thank you. Dr. Cantwell-Copher.
There's a reason why CTA and FTA have endorsed me. They know that I understand what it's like to be in a classroom, to stand in front, and to be worried about whether or not your children ate, had food, lived in a stable place, which couch they bounced from that evening, or whether or not they are in a home with domestic violence or other threats to their safety and their well-being. We are doing everything we can to make sure our teachers are well trained in trauma-informed instruction, the culture of poverty, and other ways that equip them to meet the very unique needs of the students of Fresno County. I'm so grateful you recognize that the profile of the average child in Fresno County isn't like the median across the state of California. Our children have greater barriers to their success. So we have to take very good care of our teachers.
Blake, if I may, I feel because...
We'll give you a 30-second rebuttal.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to bring this, and both Eimear and I can speak to this. We were not given an opportunity to speak to FTA, even though I was told specifically by our board president, Manuel Bonilla, love Manuel Bonilla, but he reneged on his promise to me. And so what I say to our FTA teachers, who many of them have reached out to me in very positive and affirming ways, is that we need to look at this. We need to understand that not all Fresno Teacher Association teachers are on the side as FTA leadership, and that it's problematic. We need to all be given a fair opportunity to speak our truth, to speak our experience, and to either earn the endorsement or not earn the endorsement. That was not afforded to us.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien, would you like a 30-second rebuttal?
No, I will just say that I do believe that our teachers need a lot of support in our schools, and it's very important that they are given support to be able to reach their students and are trained in how to manage a lot of the different traumas that our kids have in the classroom, and that we have multiple support systems in our schools to help our teachers with that.
Thank you. Dr. Copher, would you like a 30-second sir rebuttal?
Just that, again, being consistent and intentional about knowing our children by name and by need is what is making a difference in our classrooms right now. We have a long ways to go. We know that we have more students that we need to reach. That's why I spend so much time mitigating those barriers to success. I spend time with Housing Authority to make sure we have stable housing for children. I spend time with our food bank to make sure that we have food pantries at our school sites. I'm working around the clock to make sure that mitigating those barriers to our children's success so that they get into their classroom and they do what they do best, and that is learn and thrive and grow. Just committed to that work.
Thank you. We've reached the end of our questions. However, because we have a little bit of extra time, I'm going to throw in a question for each of you to answer. How will you support special education in our county? We had some folks reach out to the Maddy Institute on social media asking if there would be questions pertaining to special education. So since we have a little bit of extra time, what will you do to support special education services throughout Fresno County? We started with Dr. O'Brien on the last question. We'll go to you, Dr. Alvarado.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, you know, as Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, again, one of our main functions is to approve the budget, right? And approve the LCAP, which I've helped school districts write during my time at Fresno County Office of Education. And we need to make sure that the money that is being spent at school districts are giving effort and support structures to our special ed population. So that could mean instructional assistants, it could mean special day classes, it could mean mainstreaming students, but our teachers need to have the support if students are going to be mainstreamed, which they should be. I'm in total agreement with that. So looking at the budget, understanding how we should be investing our dollars for all student populations, including our special ed students. I'll share this one story. When I was the principal at Kasner Intermediate School, I bought a Letterman's jacket for Clovis West High School to motivate our middle school kids. And I promised our kids every time we won a championship that I would put a patch on my jacket. That thing weighed at the beginning 10 pounds. It ended up weighing like 40 pounds by the end of the season. My special day class came up to me when I was doing lunch supervision, and they said, do we get a patch if we win our championship this Saturday? I couldn't go to it. It was a basketball tournament. On Monday, they brought this tall trophy to me and said, we won our basketball championship. I asked them what the score was, 1-0. So we have to support our kids in all ways possible.
Thank you. I gave Dr. Alvarado a little extra time, so I'll do the same for the other candidates. Dr. Copher.
I'm glad you asked this question, Blake. About 10 years ago, 10% of our students in our schools were diagnosed or labeled, if you will, determined to be special education. Today it's 13%. So we're seeing an increase in this arena. We're also seeing the complexities of the needs of our students much different than in the past. And so training our teachers, we also have, this is a perfect storm because workforce development, it's a challenge to get folks to apply to become special education teachers. So our office is an expert in this arena. Not only do we have, we've employed in excess of 100 teachers that are itinerant in our schools. So we're frankly recognized as the leaders in this arena. We provide training, we provide advocacy regularly, because again, Sacramento's making decisions that they don't understand get translated into our classrooms. And then finally, funding for it. Again, with those increased needs, is increased funding necessary. The federal government mandates a lot, but doesn't give adequate funding for the needs we have in our special education classrooms. So it's a holistic response. Enough to say, though, that I'm watching it very, very closely because of the increased numbers and and just the complexities involved.
Thank you. Dr. O'Brien.
I'll definitely say that funding is a huge issue in California, because even though we have record per pupil funding, the fact that we're in declining enrollment and that we have increases in the numbers of students in special education is creating a funding issue, a real funding issue for special ed. What I'll say is that it's very, very important that we support our special education teachers, because there's a shortage, first of all, of special education teachers, and supporting our teachers to make sure that not only are they able to deliver a high quality instruction to their kids, but also giving them support with respect to the IEPs and all the different regulations that have to be followed in terms of special education. I just want to speak on the part of parents as well. A lot of emphasis during my tenure in Clovis Unified was on sitting down with parents and listening to our parents, because they are the ones who are navigating a lot of the challenges with their children at home. And then facilitating meetings where our teachers can really gain a deeper understanding of the different issues that our kids are navigating. That has really helped with helping to retain special education teachers and not lose them to general ed at such a large rate.
Thank you. Now it's time to move into the candidates' closing statements. We started with Dr. Cantwell-Copher. We'll go to Dr. O'Brien, Dr. Alvarado, and then we'll finish with you, Dr. Cantwell-Copher. So you have 2 minutes. We'll begin with you, Dr. O'Brien.
So I will just say at the heart of this race is a simple and urgent question. Are we willing to do what it takes to change the trajectory for our kids? We know too many children in Fresno County have not been reading at grade level, and the research is clear: when a child struggles with reading, it limits every opportunity, not just in school, but in life. But we now have proof that we can turn this around, and we have a real opportunity in the Golden State Literacy Plan. The question is not whether the opportunity exists. The question is whether we have the leadership to get it right. And this work is not easy. It's going to require trust. It's going to require bringing people together. And in a role without direct authority, leadership must be earned through credibility and trust. I've had the honour of leading 2 of our largest school districts, and I understand what real support looks like. Our district superintendents doing this work around the county have made it clear to me they want a partner that they can trust. They want a partner who understands the complexities of their roles, and they want somebody who is willing to support them in their work. I'm deeply honoured to have the support of our most recent county superintendents, as well as the Mayor of Fresno, our Fresno County District Attorney, and our Assessor Recorder, and also the board members from the 2 districts where I've served, and many other respected leaders. This is bigger than a position, in my opinion. This is about whether a child in Fresno County learns to read and then can believe in their future and have every door open to them. I'm not running to talk about that as a possibility. I'm running to make it a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Alvarado.
Thank you. Once again, thank you to the Maddy Institute and to everybody here asking us the questions, and to everybody out there in TV land, thank you for listening. I started out by talking about our problem in Fresno County, and we have to be willing to admit that there is a problem in Fresno County, and has been for many years. I cite 11 years. And until we are willing to do that, we're not going to get to the place where we are going to be responsive to what needs to happen in order to get to results. So let me speak to that just for a second. For the last decade, and remember, I worked at Fresno County Office of Education for just under 5 years. And what I have seen over the course, year after year, county superintendent after county superintendent, is the same process, the same way of taking this position and executing it. There is that one statement that I made earlier where oversight, support, and accountability is part of the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools role. I am going to, in earning this position first by being elected to it and not appointed to it, I am going to be a Fresno County Superintendent that is going to be accountable first to myself, to make a difference for our kids, and then accountable to parents, and then accountable to our school districts. The only way we get there is that we have to be transparent about our results, and not just at the end of the year. We have to do this throughout the year. I also mentioned that we have 180 days every single school year to make a difference for students. If we're not looking at how we are performing throughout the year, it's going to be problematic like it has been for the last decade. I am running for this position because in 2014, I made a commitment that this is the superintendency position I wanted. And for 12 years, and actually since 1995, I have been preparing myself for this position. I am ready to go. It is time for change, and I am here. And I've been here for 60 years and 30 years in education. My commitment to parents and to students and to staff members everywhere is that we will begin to see our students thrive.
Thank you. Dr. Cantwell-Copher.
For the last 3.5 years, I've been very proud to serve as Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, and I've done so with trusted relationships with our 31 school district superintendents, their school boards, our charter school leaders, and most importantly, parents and teachers in Fresno County. We've come a long way. In the last 3 years, every metric you can measure, from safer schools to student achievement to community engagement to the number of CTE offerings we make available to our students, to dual enrollment. There are so many metrics that we can point to and say we are on the right trajectory. So in the future, we need to build on that success and accelerate it substantially. We need to do that together with trust and respect, accountability, transparency, and with a really strong sense that we know our students. We know their extraordinary challenges. We know them by name and we know them by need, and that we're up for this challenge. Thank you for your support. Last time I ran, I won with over 60% of the vote. Today, the Chamber of Fresno said I delivered on my promises, and I'm particularly proud of the fact that I have the bipartisan support of the Young Dems and the Young Republicans, which show that even though they were in our classrooms just 10 short years ago, these thoughtful, progressive, smart, dedicated, community-oriented young people believe in me as your, to be reelected as your Fresno County Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you. I want to thank all of the candidates for participating in tonight's forum. Really appreciate your time and being here this evening to share your vision for Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. So thank you very much. I also want to especially thank our panelists for their diligent questions. Elizabeth Arakelian from Valley Public Radio, David Taub from GV Wire, Esther Quintanilla from Central Valley Journalism Collaborative, and Diego Vargas from Fresnoland. Thank you for your thoughtful questions this evening and for putting in the time to be here as well. And thank you to CMAC for hosting us and for broadcasting tonight's forum. Thank you to all of you for tuning in this evening. And the primary election is on June 2nd, 2026. Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay. Very good.